The afternoon sun hangs low over Camp Pendleton, casting long shadows across the training grounds. The air is still. Heavy. The kind of stillness that comes before something changes forever. Marines stand in formation, their boots pressed into the dirt. They've been trained to endure. To push through pain. To follow orders without question.
Left, right, left.
Their bodies are weapons, forged through months of discipline and repetition. They believe in what they know. They trust the system that built them. At the front of the formation stands an instructor. His jaw is set. His shoulders broad. His voice carries the weight of authority earned through years of service. He's taught thousands of men how to fight. How to survive. How to kill if necessary. His methods are proven. His confidence is absolute. And then, standing off to the side, is a man who doesn't belong here. Not in the way they expect. Bruce Lee is smaller than most of them. Quieter. He wears no uniform. Carries no rank. But there's something in the way he stands that commands attention without demanding it. His presence doesn't announce itself. It simply exists. Undeniable. The instructor doesn't look at him directly. Not yet. He's explaining a technique to the Marines. A combat hold. A way to control an opponent. The movements are sharp. Efficient. Designed to dominate through force and structure. The Marines watch. They absorb. They believe this is the only way. Bruce Lee watches too. But he's not absorbing. He's reading. Seeing the gaps. The rigidity. The assumption that strength alone is enough. The instructor finishes his demonstration. The Marines nod in approval. This is what they've been taught. This is what they trust. But then the instructor turns. His eyes finally land on Bruce Lee. There's a challenge in that look. Not spoken. Not shouted. Just there. You disagree. It's not a question. It's an accusation. The Marines shift. They feel the tension now. Two philosophies standing on opposite sides of the dirt. Bruce Lee doesn't react immediately. He lets the silence hold. When he speaks, his voice is calm. Almost soft. But it cuts through the air like a blade. I don't need to disagree. Show me. The instructor's jaw tightens. He's been questioned before. But never like this. Never with such quiet certainty. He steps forward. The Marines circle. This isn't about combat anymore. It's about validation. About which belief will stand when tested. Prove it works, the instructor says. Bruce Lee doesn't nod. Doesn't smile. He simply waits. The instructor moves first. He's fast. Trained. His hands reach for the hold he just demonstrated. The same technique he's used hundreds of times. The same structure that's never failed him. But before his grip can close, Bruce Lee shifts. Not a block. Not a counter. A dissolution. His body moves like water finding space between rocks. The instructor's hands close on nothing. His balance tips forward. And in that moment, Bruce Lee is already behind him. One hand rests lightly on the instructor's shoulder. The other near his spine. No force. No aggression. Just position. 6 seconds. The Marines don't move. They don't breathe. They've just witnessed something their training didn't prepare them for. Not a victory of strength. A victory of understanding. Bruce Lee steps back. The instructor turns, his face unreadable. But something has shifted in his eyes. The certainty is gone. Replaced by something else. Confusion. Curiosity. Respect. You couldn't hold what you couldn't catch, Bruce Lee says. Force needs structure. Structure needs form. But form can be broken. Water cannot. The instructor doesn't argue. He's felt the truth of it in his own body. The technique he trusted wasn't wrong. It was incomplete. It assumed the opponent would meet force with force. But Bruce Lee didn't meet him at all. He simply wasn't there. One of the Marines speaks up. His voice is hesitant. How do you train for that? Bruce Lee looks at him. You don't train to be water. You remove what makes you rigid. Fear. Ego. The need to prove. What's left is adaptation. And adaptation cannot be defeated. Only avoided. The instructor is silent now. Not out of shame. Out of realization. He's spent years building men into weapons. But weapons are tools. And tools are only as effective as the hand that wields them. Bruce Lee isn't teaching technique. He's teaching awareness. The difference between knowing a movement and understanding its nature. The sun dips lower. The shadows grow longer. The formation begins to dissolve. But the lesson doesn't end. It lingers. Not in words. Not in demonstration. In the shift that's already taken place inside each of them. They thought they came to learn how to fight better. But Bruce Lee didn't teach them how to fight. He taught them how to see. How to recognize the difference between strength and flexibility. Between reacting and responding. Between forcing an outcome and allowing it to unfold. The instructor approaches him as the Marines disperse. There's no hostility now. Just a question. What if they had trained your way from the beginning? Bruce Lee doesn't answer immediately. He watches the Marines walking away. Some are still processing. Others are already replaying the moment in their minds. Trying to understand what they missed. They would have learned faster, Bruce Lee says. But they also would have questioned more. And questioning makes people uncomfortable. It's easier to follow than to think. Easier to believe in one way than to accept there are many. The instructor nods slowly. He understands now. The rigidity he taught wasn't just physical. It was mental. A framework that gave certainty in a world that offers none. But certainty is a cage. And Bruce Lee just showed him the door. As the day fades, the training ground empties. The dust settles. The tension dissolves. But something remains. A seed. Planted in the minds of men who thought they already knew everything they needed to know. They didn't learn a new technique that day. They learned a new question. Not how do I win, but what am I missing? And that question, once asked, cannot be unasked. It grows. It challenges. It transforms. Bruce Lee walks away from the base as quietly as he arrived. No ceremony. No declaration. Just a man who understands that the greatest victories aren't won through dominance. They're won through revelation. The Marines will return to their training. They'll practice the same techniques. Follow the same orders. But something inside them has changed. They'll move a little differently now. Think a little deeper. Question a little more. Not because they were told to. Because they felt the truth of it in their own bodies. That's the difference between teaching and transformation. Teaching fills the mind. Transformation empties it. And only an empty mind can see clearly. The instructor stands alone on the training ground long after everyone has left. He's replaying those 6 seconds over and over. Trying to find the moment he lost control. But there was no moment. No single instant where the tide turned. It was all one fluid motion. One continuous truth. He thought he was testing Bruce Lee. But Bruce Lee was revealing him. Showing him the limits of his own understanding. Not with arrogance. Not with cruelty. With clarity. And clarity, once seen, cannot be unseen. The wind picks up. The dust swirls. The day ends. But the lesson continues. It will echo through every movement those Marines make. Every decision. Every moment they choose adaptation over resistance. Flow over force. Bruce Lee didn't come to Camp Pendleton to prove himself. He came because someone asked him to. And in 6 seconds, he gave them something no amount of training ever could. The understanding that mastery isn't about perfecting one way. It's about transcending the need for any way at all.